least, Monica Rose. She is going to give us the inside scoop on working with celebrity, and I know that's what everyone wants to know. So she's going to give you the inside scoop on the Kardashians and the Jenners, and then also her 4-year history over at E! And working and styling with all the lovely ladies like Kat Sadler over at E's Daily. Again, thank you all for coming out, and everyone's got really specific specialties and areas of expertise. So again, if we're milling around and there's some other little trickle questions, feel free to let us know. She keeps talking about relationships, and I can't reiterate that enough. It really comes down to that and the hard work. And just be genuine, stay original. I always say, you know, trends are important. Don't be a slave to the trends. Be unique, be your own style. It's really what's going to carry you through. Monica is just, you know, another amazing person up here. She's a celebrity stylist. I think a lot of you are familiar with her and her work. She's been working with E! For the last 4 years. There's been a little bit of a shift in the publishing world on a lot of fronts. We're going to see them they're going to be shifting from the daily into like a 1-hour program now. So there's a couple changes going on, but she really made a big difference for a lot of designers that we work with here in LA. The ones that were just coming up and getting their footing, and some of their first celebrity placements were the on-air hosts, and it did a lot for their brands. It gave them credibility with the stores, helped them make business for themselves. So she's helped a lot of emerging brands, which I think is really fantastic. And then in terms of celebrity, you know, just like with Lindsay, it's its own animal. You know, you're dealing with really highly creative, high-profile people. She has a real knack for it, so we're very happy to have her here with us this evening. And so I'm going to hand this off to Monica.
First of all, I have to say, Ruth, I can relate so much to your story and the way you got started. I mean, it's different, but I guess the number one question that I get asked is definitely how you got started as a how I got started as a stylist, and did I go to school for styling? And no, I never went to school for styling. I actually never really even knew what a stylist was. I moved to Los Angeles almost 10 years ago, and I worked in retail, and that's kind of where I got my niche, and that's kind of where I learned about fashion, about clienteling, about working with all different women types of bodies, and I think for me it was my school. Like I said, I didn't even know what a stylist was, but working in this store, I worked on Robertson back in the day before it was Robertson. It was a little bit more clientele based. I worked with so many different women, from lawyers to socialites to so many different women, that I really loved what I did. I really got involved in the whole like merchandising, visuals, and I just got so fascinated by all of it. Like I loved making my clients feel good, and to me that was very important for me too. It wasn't necessarily about selling and commission, and I didn't care about that. To me, it was on another like level where it was more. I made this little binder, and I wrote down all of my, I have a picture of all my clients, and I'd write down their sizes, what they liked, color palettes, what colors looked good on them. So I kind of took it to another level than just like working retail. I know people say, oh, I don't want to work retail, you know, I want to take my career to another level, I want to do styling. I would suggest work retail, because that's where you really learn about styles, about just, I mean, me personally, I learned so much. Back then, like, it was about 8 or 9 years ago, I didn't know what a stylist was, so I remember a couple of times stylists would come into school for different TV shows for their clients, and I was so green. I had just moved from a small town, So my manager at the time was like, oh, she's a stylist, you should help her. And I said, okay, well, what does she do? Like, what do you mean stylist? Exactly, does she do hair? And they said, no, she works on TV shows, you should definitely help them with her clients. So I said, okay, so it just came very natural to me. It just was like, what are you working on? I asked the right questions, and that's when I realized I had worked in retail like almost at the time, like 5 or 6 years. I realized this is what I could do. This is what I think I can make a career out of. Because I was working with these stylists and I saw what they were doing, I saw they were always stressed out. I'm like, I want to be that stressed out stylist. I want to go into these stores and I want to be that stressed out stylist. So I really kind of took that upon myself to help them, to make their jobs easier, and I really treated my clients that would come in like I was their stylist. You know, I was like, I kind of would call my clients and I'd be like, what do you have coming up? You have a premiere coming up, or you have an audition, or you have, you know, whatever they had going on. I wanted to be their stylist. So at the time, on Robertson, I was walking and I met a photographer, and he was doing some photo shoot, and he asked if he could take a picture and liked my style, what I was wearing, and he said, what do you do? And I said, oh, I'm a stylist. And he said, oh, okay. He said, well, I'm looking for new stylists to work with, and you know, I would love to work with you sometime. I said, great. Here's my business card. So I made business cards with my name, and I was a stylist. So I kind of, like he said, I kind of put it out there. I was already a stylist. So he goes, great. I'm doing a test. I would love for you to come, and I'm working with this model. We're doing a test. And I said, great, okay. Give me your information. We exchanged information. And I had no idea what a test was. I was like, okay, great. So we're back to work, and I let them know I'm with this photographer. We've got a test set up. I have no idea what it is. And they started laughing at me because a lot of people were doing styling at the time, and they let me know kind of what a test shoot was. So luckily, relationship, I knew a lot of people on the street. I worked in the store. I was able to go to a shoot with clothes, and also being creative is key. I was always creative as a child. Like, I would always make my own clothes, you know, my Barbie's clothes, cut up sleeves, whatever I had to do. So I think that's key when you start as a stylist, is to be creative and to really go into your closet, go into your friends' closets, you know, do photo shoots, just do creative things. Always keep yourself motivated and creative, because that's what I had to do, and I think that really helped me. So my first test, I nailed it. Like, I literally brought my store, I brought this busted little rack, it barely even had wheels, and I brought it to the test, and it was so much fun, and I was like, okay, and I really started thinking about it. I said, I've been working in retail almost 8 or 9 years. What else can I do? I'm never going to own the store. I've done managed stores. I've, you know, done visuals for stores. I've done so many, and I've opened stores. I traveled. But what else? What's next? So that's how I really got a niche for styling, and I was wanting to do more. And so that's when I started networking, and one photographer led to another photographer, and I met another photographer, and I wanted more. I just wanted to continue to do these photo shoots. So when it started being slow, what I did is I contacted the modeling agencies, and I said, hey, look, I'm a stylist, and all I want to do is work for pictures. I don't want to get paid. I mean, who says that? I don't want to get paid. I just want to build my book. And so I did, and I saved my money. I continued working retail until I could save enough money to buy a book, because you are your own representation. So you definitely have to make sure. I knew that my next step was I need to get an agent. I really need to get an agency. So I saved up my money to buy a portfolio, and work these photo shoots to get these test shoots in order to build a book. Because without a book, nobody's going to take you serious. You can say you're a stylist, but it's like, really? Show me your work. What have you worked on? So if you have a book or you have something to show, then they're like, oh, wow, she's really serious, you know? So that's what I did, as I built the book. And I didn't have a computer at the time, but I remember I would go to this like little internet cafe, and I would look up photographers in the area. And I found these two photographers who I really loved their work. And I loved their aesthetic, I loved everything about them. So I would go to their websites and I would get inspiration. And I would look on their websites and I'd study their work, and that's what I wanted. I wanted to one day be able to have a website or a book or anything I just really wanted to one day work with these photographers. So I continued testing for about a year, and I think there comes a breaking point when you're like, okay, now what? You know, a lot of aspiring stylists, I'm sure the number one question is like, how do I make it? I mean, from my blog, I get a lot of people asking me, when did you get your break? How do I make it? What are the steps? You know, it's like you really have to take those chances, and that's what I did. But I came to a point where I'm like, you know, I don't know what I'm doing. I just know I want to be a stylist. I don't know how I'm going to get here, but I am going to be a stylist.